Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Aaron. The unseasonably early wildfires flared up again in Southern California Thursday. The fires have driven tens of thousands of people from their homes and caused more than $20 million in damage. Firefighters are hoping better weather conditions today will help them begin to get some control over multiple blazes. Heather Sells has the latest.
9 fires in the San Diego region have scorched 15 square miles and burned at least 8 homes, an apartment complex, and 2 businesses. The fires may also have caused at least 1 death. A flare-up Thursday prompted 18,000 new evacuation notices in the San Diego suburb of San Marcos.
A very dangerous fire season, the worst fire season that we have seen in a long, long time.
Authorities now say they're treating the fires as a crime scene and are searching for a cause. 9 fires in 3 days in a small area have many wondering about arson.
It would just be pure speculation to say whether they were set or by a car or an individual. We just don't know yet, but we are actively investigating the start of those fires.
The fires began Tuesday, aided by high winds, extreme heat, and low humidity. No one knows yet just how many homes have been damaged.
I saw the smoke coming above our unit, and it turned suddenly super black. So headed that way, it was a wall of fire.
The flames came within feet of Cal State University in San Marcos. School officials evacuated the campus and called off graduation. So far, authorities have sent out 125,000 evacuation notices. There's hope that better weather today will help firefighters begin to contain the fires, but it could take months for investigators to find out just what caused this disaster. Heather Sells, CBN News.
The head of Homeland Security wants to revamp the federal immigration enforcement program. Jay Johnson says the Secure Communities program has become very controversial and needs a fresh start. The program allows immigration officials to ask local law enforcement to detain people who match in a federal database for immigration violations. Those people can then be deported. The program has led to complaints that people are being deported for immigration violations without being convicted of any crime or with only minor offenses. President Obama is trying to make executive changes because immigration legislation is stalled in the House. Meanwhile, a tragic illegal immigration story out of Arizona is making national headlines. A wrong-way drunk driver who killed an off-duty police officer in Arizona turns out to be an illegal immigrant. Authorities say 42-year-old Raul Silva Corona had driven 35 miles in the wrong direction on 3 freeways. He eventually collided with a car driven by Mesa police officer Brandon Mendoza. Both men were killed. Corona had a blood alcohol content nearly 3 times the legal limit. The Federal Communication Commission voted yesterday to advance rules that would allow companies to pay for preferential treatment of web traffic. The FCC chairman's proposal could create a fast lane and a slow lane for websites. Commissioners voted 3-2 to advance the new measure. The FCC will now begin formally collecting public comment on the possible rule change. Well, newly released emails show the IRS headquarters in Washington was involved in the Tea Party targeting scandal. One of the emails came from Lois Lerner, the IRS official who's been held in contempt of Congress after repeated refusals to testify. The emails were obtained by Judicial Watch and contradict original White House claims that the Tea Party targeting came from the IRS office in Cincinnati. New examples of wasteful government spending today. You may remember congressional earmarks. They're those special projects lawmakers load into the federal budget. But as Paul Strand reports, Congress managed to pass more than 100 earmarks for 2014, sometimes even giving millions of dollars to groups that didn't even want the money.
The Pig Book Summary blasts Congress annually for its wasteful pork barrel projects. Thomas Schatz of Citizens Against Government Waste.
There are 109 earmarks costing taxpayers $2.7 billion in fiscal year 2014.
This is how wasteful Congress can be. They're passing spending for agencies that are saying, don't send us the money.
For instance, one special target in this year's Pig Book is the $2.6 million for an economic development agency in Alaska.
The Inspector General of the Denali Commission said the organization shouldn't even exist. President Obama has pointed out that there are 29 other federal programs that do exactly the same thing.
Or there's the $90 million for M1 tanks the Pentagon insists it really doesn't want.
The Secretary of the Army said they don't need to build more M1s. They want to delay this for 4 years and save $3 billion. There are 2,000 M1s sitting idle in the desert in California.
Speaking of the Defense Department, it's getting $866 million to mostly duplicate research on the very same illnesses and diseases as the civilian sector.
Breast cancer research can be done at the National Institutes of Health, and it's done. Billions of dollars. Other health research, done at other agencies.
Schatz complains some of the military, along with their congressional benefactors, seem more concerned about their pet environmental projects than defense, no matter what it costs.
Hundreds of dollars per gallon for algae-based fuel is being spent at the Department of Defense. Other members have said that the Secretary of the Navy is not the Secretary of Energy. This money belongs at the Energy Department, if it belongs anywhere.
Schatz is particularly peeved by $15 million extra dollars that went to improve habitat for salmon in the Northwest.
What about the halibut? What about the grouper in Florida? What about the lobsters in Maine? We don't want to give the other species any ideas to come to Washington and get some money.
What's funny is there's a ban on earmarks in Congress right now, but they're still managing to pass spending for the very same projects that were called earmarks in the past. They're just not calling them that right now. Paul Strand, CBN News, Capitol Hill.
Women wanting abortions in Missouri may soon have to wait longer. Lawmakers there have passed legislation requiring a 72-hour period before the procedure is done. The state currently has a 24-hour waiting period. Supporters of the measure say the longer waiting period could help reduce abortions. The new 72-hour time frame would not apply in cases of medical emergencies, but would be applied in cases of rape or incest. Missouri's governor has not yet said whether he will sign or veto the measure. Legal confusion over gay marriage continues in 2 states. A county judge in Arkansas continues his campaign to legalize gay marriage. Judge Chris Piazza expanded his ruling from last week, striking down a voter-approved ban on gay marriage. Now his ruling also includes a separate law which blocked clerks from issuing gay marriage licenses. Meanwhile, in Idaho, a court issued a stay on a ruling striking down the state's gay marriage ban. Though news of the stay upset the lesbian couples who filed suit against the state, their lawyer sees it as a good sign.
If the Ninth Circuit wanted to go ahead and stay the matter, it could have granted that outright. And instead, it apparently has decided it will take some more time and I think give a good hard look to our opposition to the stay.
The decision gives the Ninth Circuit Court more time to review their request. A coalition is gathering in the nation's capital. Their goal, make Americans more aware of the dangers of porn. Ahead of a 2-day anti-pornography summit, some of the lead speakers held a news conference Thursday. They pointed out if Americans realized just how harmful porn can be, they'd begin to reject it. A neurosurgeon talked about how porn actually changes the brains of users and causes them to be addicted. A researcher pointed out the porn industry deliberately sets out to create addicts, and a feminist pointed out this addiction then changes the way users view sex and women.
It has all the factors of effective teaching. It makes people anonymous, it has role models, it's sexually arousing, it's presented in pictures, and much of it is free.
Boys and men today are catapulted into a never-ending universe of images that celebrate, legitimize, and normalize sexual terrorism against women.
A former pornographer then asked men how they feel if their daughter was involved in porn, which has become increasingly violent. He points out every woman in porn is someone's daughter. The Texas Department of Transportation is under fire for banning a 10 Commandments sign on a citizen's private property. The 6-foot by 12-foot sign sits on Jeanette Golden's land facing Highway 21. The State Department of Transportation wants her to take it down because the sign is on a road that is statutorily prohibited from having signage at all. The Liberty Institute issued a letter to the department saying their request violates Mrs. Golden's right to freedom of religious expression. It's also calling on the department to cancel its removal order. Pro-Russian insurgents have retreated from government buildings in the city of Mariupol in eastern Ukraine. Steelworkers began citizen patrols earlier this week to help police restore order in the city and vacate separatist-occupied buildings, clearing out the barricades outside the government building. Mariupol is the second largest city in the Donetsk region and was one of the cities overrun by pro-Russian protesters who have been in control of government buildings there for weeks. Well, gang members recently took the life of a pastor in northern Honduras for not paying what they call a protection tax. Maria Savella, mother of 3 children, co-pastored the church with her husband near the city of San Pedro Sula. She was stabbed to death in her home.
The national police have been unsuccessful in stopping gang violence. Honduras' new police director recently appealed to fathers to keep their children out of gangs by getting more involved in their lives.
Let's have that father who's a protector of the family, and not just a materialistic father who gives or doesn't give things. Let's have the support of society. The church is important.
Sabillon also invited evangelical pastors to his national headquarters to pray for police officers. The session ended with a prayer of commitment to uphold law and order and pursue justice.
Prayer is a great force, a great energy for this national police force. It revitalizes us, comforts us, and motivates us to fight for this society, for these people who deserve a quality life.
Many believe that prayer can change the tide in their fight against crime. Stan Jeter, CBN News.
Coming up, the world watches in horror as Islamic terrorists hold nearly 300 schoolgirls hostage. We've got an inside story on how Boko Haram is targeting Christians in Nigeria.
The American Bible Challenge is back. Premiering May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
An all-new season premieres Thursday, May 22nd at 8/7 Central, only on Game Show Network.
Pat Boone here with some good news you can trust. Today, our faith, families, and our freedoms are under attack. Polls say 2 out of 3 Americans no longer trust government. A stalled economy, weakening dollar, and politicians willing to steal money from our children to waste on unfixable problems. So, whom can you trust? Well, our money still says in God we trust. But do we? Or have we quietly allowed the things we hold sacred to be stolen by the enemies of traditional values? Today, our government spends almost twice its income, running up a tab for future generations into the hundreds of trillions. How can you stop this from happening to your family? Well, it's all covered in a fantastic new book, The Great Withdrawal by Craig Smith and Dr. Lowell Ponte. Every American needs to read this book. Why don't you call now for a free copy of The Great Withdrawal? It's the simple truth you can trust.
The American Bible Challenge is back. Premiering May 22nd at 8/7 Central. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
An all-new season premieres Thursday, May 22nd at 8/7 Central, only on Game Show Network.
A pregnant Christian woman in Sudan has been sentenced to death for apostasy. Miriam Abraham is the daughter of a Muslim father and Orthodox Christian mother. According to Christian Solidarity Worldwide, a court ruled Miriam left Islam when she married a Christian man. The judge gave her 4 days to recant her Christian faith and escape the death sentence, but Miriam refused. She says she's never been a Muslim. Sudanese law says children of a Muslim father are considered Muslims. Miriam says her father left the family when she was young and she was raised a Christian by her mother. Miriam has also been sentenced to 100 lashes for adultery because the law does not recognize her marriage to a Christian. The judge delayed the sentences until after her baby is born. The U.S. State Department says it is deeply disturbed by the case and called on Sudan's government to respect religious freedom. 1 month ago this week, almost 300 schoolgirls were kidnapped as they slept at their Nigerian boarding school. Boko Haram has been terrorizing Nigeria for years. Now the U.S. State Department is finally making Boko Haram a top priority. The department admits it could have acted sooner to designate Boko Haram a foreign terrorist group. Republicans are criticizing Hillary Clinton for not making the terrorist designation 2 years ago when she was Secretary of State. State Department officials told the Senate Thursday it's impossible to say if earlier steps would have had a big impact on deterring the group. The kidnapping has raised renewed awareness of this notorious terrorist group. For more than 5 years now, Boko Haram has committed countless atrocities against Christians and others. Gary Lane has the story of one Nigerian schoolgirl who overcame a murderous assault on her own family.
Deborah Wakai Peters played with some of the 276 schoolgirls kidnapped by the Boko Haram terror group. She says her mother once attended the same school in Chibok, where the girls were kidnapped. Deborah has experienced her own horrors at the hands of Boko Haram. One night just before Christmas 2011, she watched as 3 gunmen entered her house and killed her father after he refused to deny Christ. They also killed her 14-year-old brother Caleb.
So they go ahead and shoot him twice in his chest. So he fall. When he fall, he started moving. So they go ahead and shoot him again, one in his mouth, and then he fall down and died. So I was in shock. I didn't know what was happening.
Deborah's mother, a former Muslim, was away from home at the time. Shortly after, American children of 9/11 victims invited Deborah to attend a camp in the U.S. While she survived a terror attack, Deborah could not make it through the bureaucracy of the State Department. It twice denied her visa requests.
And the reason she was denied a visa was they said to her, you can't make this stuff up. They said to her, you don't have family ties. So they essentially re-traumatized a girl whose family was exterminated by terrorists.
This is the same department that only recently labeled Boko Haram a terrorist organization. The Hudson Institute's Nina Shea says until last November, department officials like former Assistant Secretary Johnny Carson rejected the idea that Islam motivates Boko Haram.
I remember I was dumbfounded. It was after an attack on another church in 2012, and he gave a speech before CSIS think tank in town here saying that it had nothing to do with religion.
These are not rebels, they're anarchists, they're jihadists. And when you frame it in the right context, when you have a right problem statement, then you can have an appropriate response to that.
When Deborah talked to CBN News, she made it clear why Boko Haram targeted her family.
In the Quran, they say that any Muslim woman that turns to Christian, her punishment is death. So they did all this because of her.
So you think if your mother had been home, they would have killed her as well?
Yes, because they were targeting her. Even now, they are looking for her. If they see her, they will kill her.
Why did they kill your father?
Because number one, he's a pastor, and the second one, he married my mother. When he married my mother, so he turned my mother to Christian, so they were angry with him.
Now, had your father led other Muslims to Christianity?
Yeah.
Ogebe suggests world leaders take a more aggressive response in order to stop these attacks.
This is a make or break time for Boko Haram. If the world cannot unite and snuff them out now, they now know what will get our attention, and they're going to keep, putting it in our faces.
As for Deborah, she finally received a student visa and now attends school in the U.S. So what does she want people to learn from her story?
They will understand and they will know more and more of what God said, and they will understand what it means to stand strong.
A 15-year-old Nigerian student standing strong in victory over Islamic terrorism and praying that her Christian friends will soon be reunited with their families. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Up next, at the box office, from Godzilla to $1 Million Arm. Find out if there's a good fit for your family this weekend.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
Well, the weekend is here, and it's time for our family-friendly movie reviews. To find out what's worth watching, Mark Martin spoke earlier with Bob Waliszewski. He's director of Focus on the Family's entertainment review department called Plugged In Online.
Bob, let's start with the movie Godzilla. How family-friendly is this one?
Well, as you might imagine, with a skyscraper-size lizard, it's going to have some violence, and it also has some language, but it's pretty much a popcorn muncher for the summer. It begins in 1999, where there's actually 3 lizard-like creatures, 2 called Mutos and Godzilla. 2 of them feed on radioactivity. They're heading for San Francisco. On the way, they pretty well decimate Honolulu, and the military are called out. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, what can we do to save the world, essentially? So it's a PG-13. It deserves that particular rating. I give it a 3 out of 5 for family friendliness. Has some potential, but it's not a slam dunk for families by any means.
All right, well, there's a new PG film out about baseball called $1 Million Arm. What did you think of that one?
You know, it's based on a true story. Essentially, a sports agent suffering from some financial problems dreams up this idea of going to India and having a contest called the $1 Million Arm, where they try to find perhaps cricket players or just young men that can throw a ball fast and bring them over to the United States and see if they can turn them into baseball pitchers. This sports agent only cares about fast cars, women, and money, not these guys from India, at least at first. But by the end, he certainly cares, which is certainly on the plus side. The guys from India are incredibly likable. I love the scenery from India. Unfortunately, there's some alcohol consumption, and some sleep-around choices in this film. Nothing explicit, but certainly could have done without it, especially in a Disney film, that mar it a bit. Gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 for family friendliness.
Okay. Bob Waliszewski, plugged in online. We appreciate your time today, sir.
Thanks, Shamar.
Do you have an idea for an invention or a new product? Brian and Alice Jagosh, the inventors of the halftime drill driver, did. They invented a power drill attachment that lets you drill, flip, and drive in seconds. Brian and Alice licensed their invention to the company that brought you the Snuggie, and it's now selling in major retailers nationwide. Look for the Invent Help Caveman on the package. If you have an invention that you would like to try to patent and submit to companies for possible review and want free information on how Invent Help may be able to assist you, call now. Invent Help is America's largest inventor service company with sales offices in more than 60 cities nationwide. Call Invent Help today for free information. Our clients made a financial gain with their invention, but this is just their individual result. Brian and Alice's experience is not typical, as only a very small number of inventions are licensed or sold in stores.
For your free inventors information, call 1-800-559-8567. That's 1-800-559-8567.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
3 New York college students recently faced a big decision. Their choice: be honest or be rich. After buying an old couch at a thrift store, the students found $40,000 hidden in the cushions.
There's a zipper on the bottom, and he pulls out a plastic bag that's like a box shaped, and we immediately were like, it's either drugs or money.
So we pulled it out of the couch, right? And we're freaking out. We're like we're shaking. And the first, I swear, this is the first thing that Lara said. I think she was like, lock the doors.
Well, besides the cash, they also found an envelope with the name of a 91-year-old woman listed. The students say there was never a question in their minds. As soon as they saw the name, they knew they had to track down the rightful owner of the money. Makes me want to go through my couches and search for money. Well, that's it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day. God bless.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
Every day, people are connecting on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Now you can be part of the conversation and connect on topics you care about through 700 Club Interactive. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, or go to YouTube and share your opinions, your prayer requests, and your videos while making friends in our community.
Well, welcome to the show.
Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. 700 Club Interactive. Be a part of the show.